You know what? Larry's been doing it, and it made me feel like I needed to step my game up a little.
Wow. I mean, I do. I mean, I definitely not going to do the T-shirt. That's for sure.
You know, I used to come to these meetings and see. I used to think, really, that's the best we got.
Right. Now that perspective, I do agree on that. I've even started wearing We got to elevate the perception.
So I got a couple additions to add here to the agenda, just so you know.
Okay.
Additions.
And one half removal, which I think you're already aware of, the removal of the
I don't know.
street closure for the library.
Oh, we're taking that
So
off.
which one?
Why are we taking it off?
They don't need it. They can do their little whatever they're doing out
Alright, so
by
we're
the farmer's
gonna.
market.
So you need a motion to change that.
Okay. What are we adding?
And Heather's not going to make it. She's really sick.
Yeah,
so.
she texted me too.
That's like she sent that out to everybody. What are we adding?
We are adding. So Chief Gaines is going to speak to us tonight about some equipment needs for the fire department, which is going to go under new business or unfinished business. And then under new business, Barbara wants to buy her city phone.
Okay. And that's new business.
Yeah. So it's 7 o'clock.
All right, let's do it.
Are you ready, Barbara?
Yes.
We're rolling. Okay, I'd like to call to order the City Commission meeting for Monday, September 27th, 2021. It's 7 o'clock. We have no recognition. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's bring a point of reference for something.
Thank you. Can we have a roll call, please?
Dennison? Downey?
Here.
Money?
Present.
Swem?
Here.
Whedon?
Here.
You have quorum.
Thank you. Okay, we need to make some quick amendments to the agenda this evening. First, under unfinished business, I need to add letter A. Chief Gaines is going to be speaking to us regarding some equipment requests. And then under new business, I need to add D concerning Barbara Pitcher purchasing a city-supplied telephone. Are there any other changes to the agenda from anyone? Would anyone like to make a motion to approve the amended agenda?
Sean will make that motion.
Thank you. Is there support?
Money will support.
Thank you. Can we have a roll call, please?
Downey?
Yes.
Money?
Yes.
Swem?
Yes.
Whedon?
Yes.
Dennison?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, I'd like to open it up to public comments. Welcome, everyone. If you'd like to make a public comment, please state your name and address for the minutes. Please make your way to the microphone.
Hi, I'm Dan Bianski, 103 North Detroit, Buchanan, Michigan. We want to talk about the agenda. I specifically asked for something to be on it. I put in a written request. And since the mayor controls that, I believe I could have got a response why it wasn't put on directly from the mayor, not the clerk. I still don't like the idea that there's add-ons to this agenda at 7:03. The public doesn't have any time to investigate this or look at this. And this isn't nothing to do with this table. This is about organization and people out here being told they have to get their collective crap together. Enforce a deadline. It should be Wednesday before the meeting. If you don't get it in Wednesday, you don't get your banner, you don't get mentioned, you may not get your money, but we got to get some control over this. And if the mayor doesn't start doing it, who's going to do it? Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else wishing to make a public comment? Okay, seeing none. Let's move on to the consent agenda. Would someone like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Is there support?
I'll support.
Okay, was that
Thank you.
Swam and Whedon?
No.
Downing.
Downey
and
and
Whedon,
Whedon.
okay, thank you.
Can we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Swam,
Yes.
Whedon,
Yes.
Dennison,
Yes.
Downey,
Yes.
Money?
Yes.
Thank you. You have, motion carries.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, we're going to move on to reports by departments, committees, and boards. Our public services report. Mr. Baker?
So I have to apologize. I don't know that I read the agenda for tonight, but I am here to speak on our new building site and preparation, correct? We are moving forward with our current site and 111 Railroad. We got the report from Prism. I sent the 350-page document to Buddy and the gang. They did their analysis of it, and we have a meeting on Thursday about what the report came back. Supposedly they're finding some arsenic and things of that nature at the 111 Railroad site. So that's where we're at with that. They did show us some renderings of the properties with our building on it, with a building proposed on it. I think Ralph saw it, a couple different ones. Like I say in the meetings, I'm good as long as it's not raining inside the building. I don't care what it looks like. So we are moving forward. It is going to be a long process. I hope it speeds through like we're hoping, and we can make progress. On the transitioning some employees, we are looking to make a lead man out of a guy we already currently have. I'm not opposed to going out and hiring someone from the outside. It's all a matter of what everyone is good with. We are actively trying to place a lead man for when I'm gone, to make the final decisions on job sites when I can't be there because I'm in meetings or things of that nature. I need a guy that can say, that was me before, and I need a guy that can replace me. So that's where we're
And
at.
sorry to interrupt, but that's not just coming from you, that's coming from the union also, correct?
The union has it in the contract that there is supposed to be a lead man in the departments. So I don't disagree, because I did it for a long time with no recognition and no, it doesn't matter, I just did it. So that's not coming from me, that came from the union, so.
Did we already authorize the hiring of a new employee for the DPW?
We did hire, we did put out the hiring thing. We did hire Terry Burns, moved from our wastewater treatment plant to the street department. He has been a key role player in getting my baler ready for the season and getting our leaf equipment going.
And I believe that was because we didn't need as many staff members at the new.
That is what they are saying, yes,
Okay.
correct. Yep.
So it's not so much an additional cost as a shift of responsibility.
Shift
Correct.
position.
Yeah.
Yep. So, and that money has to come from different places now. It can't just come out of wastewater, obviously, but, you know, we maintain the streets and the sewers that are in them and the water lines that are in them anyways. So, I mean, he's still doing part of that job, but it's a different way of getting paid, I guess. So,
That'll reduce our enterprise costs overall, so that's
All right.
good.
yeah, so right now, nothing has changed, really. It's no additional, anybody's been put on or taken off. It's just, we just shifted a guy. They said they were gonna be overstaffed, and Terry wanted to apply for our job, so, and like I said, he's working out real well, so.
Very good.
Anything else?
Any questions? Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, public safety report. Chief Gaines?
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Tonight, it's my privilege to introduce our new officer. We were given the authority to hire back in July. It took us a few months to find the right candidate, and we believe that we have. So we're pretty excited about our new officer. This brings us up to the standard that we had back in 2010, 2011 with our staffing. So we're back up to where we were back in those days. So with that said, I'd like to introduce to you guys our new officer, Nick Pensari. Nick?
Hello all. Good evening, council. My name is Nick Pensari. I came over from the Branch County area. I graduated from the police academy in June in Battle Creek, Michigan at KCC. When I was searching for a department, I really wanted a nice small town feel, because that's where I grew up and that's where I was comfortable. And I looked at a lot of departments, and something with Buchanan stuck with me. I couldn't put my finger on it. I researched the town. I came over here one day just to kind of visit, drive around, and I said, you know, it's a really nice area, really nice town, very nice county. And when you're voted the nicest town in America, I said, you know, I've worked in corrections for a long time, so I've been called every name in the books. I said, you know, maybe, just maybe, I can go a year without something like that happening. So I've been here now going on 3 weeks, working with Dave Capron, really enjoying myself, meeting a lot of people, having a good time. I look forward to meeting all of you in town at some point in time. I'm sure we'll all cross paths. And feel free to say hello whenever you see me.
Well, welcome aboard.
Well, thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Chief, is Nick going to be working like the downtown area that we've discussed prior to this?
Probably not. No, we're probably going to put a more seasoned officer downtown doing those that's more familiar with the downtown area and what we have going on, instead of putting a new person down there. So as Nick gets trained and gets out on his own, then we're going to probably, like I said, get a more experienced officer down there to help us with those issues.
All right, thanks, Chief.
I was just curious, when are we gonna start some foot patrols downtown? Because just this weekend, I saw 4 U-turns.
Sure.
I saw a shouting match in the street today.
Yeah. Again, you know, as we were trying to get Nick trained, he's just riding along right now. He's not out on his own.
Yeah.
Our field training that we have takes a few weeks into a few months. So we don't want to just set Nick up for failure. We want to see him succeed. So our training program, he's going to be riding with an experienced officer for quite some time. And that's going to help him when he does get turned loose by himself. So with that, yes, we try to get our officers down there. We've been running with about 1 officer, so we've been extremely busy. We try to get down there the best we can. Again, if anyone sees anything going on, especially downtown, especially someone in an argument or something like that, please call us. If our car's on the other side of town, we can get there. It might be just around the corner. But again, if you see these things, please let us know so we can get there and take care of them with the few number of officers that we have right now. But Nick's doing a really good job, so I think that he's going to be getting out real soon, and we'll be able to put that officer downtown and be able to keep him down there to help with some of those issues. I understand that those issues are down there. We're trying to take care of them the best we can. Yes.
I just want to say, Nick, welcome. And nicest place in America. I do believe that was the correct decision for us to win that. At the same time, there's something that I've had a big testament to the city of Buchanan, is that we have peace officers. It's something you don't see in every town. It's something that, you see your faces. You're downtown and you're available. You don't hide in the building up on the top of the hill and then come down and cast and rain tickets upon everybody and try to beat heads. They're part of the community. They've been here for a long time. And that's something that for Officer Capron to really, I'm sure he expresses to you that there's a presence that the police have.
A field that's people dealing with people. And so I can't thank Chief Gaines enough for giving me my first job in law enforcement after coming out of corrections. So I'm 36 years old, so I'm a little bit older than most of the new guys coming out of the academy. So
Mhm.
I'm thinking that will help me catch on real quick and stuff. So I'm just getting my feet wet, but enjoying every minute of it so far.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that we've always seen in our city is that the police are not seen as somebody who's the enemy. They're seen as an asset. You know, when they go through the bars and restaurants, they shake hands and they greet people, and Sweet C is fantastic at that, as we all know, right? And that's really the basis of what we believe in our police force, is that they're part of our community. They're not somebody to be feared. They're somebody to be revered and respected and understood, and that you can approach them at any given time for anything. And I think that's something that I'm sure you'll begin to notice right away, that people don't run away from the police in this city. They actually look for them to have a conversation and be part of it. And Chief, you were a testament to that every day. So, I mean, we got somebody on our school board, right? We don't hide from the police. We use them as what they're intended to do, and that's to keep the peace. So, welcome.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
Any other questions for me? Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. All right, Community Development Director report. Mr. Murphy.
Commissioners and members of the public, Rich Murphy, Community Development Director. I have 2 items to report on as it relates to the facade and restaurant incentive programs. You'll remember, Commissioners, that you, at your last regular meeting, approved the programs to be posted on the city website and go live, so to speak. And that we did put those up the next day on the city website. I believe it was the next day that I got an email. I was very happy to receive that email because it was from a long-term anchor tenant on Front Street, Molly Thornton, from Union Coffee House, who expressed her interest to submit the first facade, downtown facade program application to the commission for your review. Went down to coffee shop and sat down with Molly. We filled out the application, and she submitted it, and I put that for your review. I think it's a great first, I couldn't think of a better first application, actually, a long-term anchor tenant. Hopefully, if you do approve this and we do a good job, the word will spread for this opportunity in Buchanan. I have, this is a work in progress. As you'll remember, we're kind of testing the program as we speak, so I'm certainly open to any feedback from the applicant or from the commissioners or from any members of the public. But we are following the checklist. So Molly has submitted on behalf of the business, Union Coffee House, has submitted for a project that is eligible. She has completed the application. She has completed the agreement that she will have with the city commission. She's received permission from the building owner on the project, and she has completed the promissory note. So those are all the technical parts of the application. In addition, she has submitted her project, and we have an estimate on that project. From here, I have confirmed the project is eligible for the program. From here, there will be an additional design review by our design review committee. Just like any other downtown improvement in the central business district. So we will take that next step, provided that you give us guidance to move forward on that this evening. From there, I can answer questions on the rest of the process, but if you want to
Take action on
take
it.
action on this first. And
Does anybody have any questions or comments regarding the request for the application by Molly Thornton?
Rich,
Yes.
did you have a chance to review the email from Alan Lamont?
Thank you.
I did. I see no need to update the ordinance. I mean, we just went through another very similar facade project with Zen Lee. And our ordinance is enacted by the Plan Commission for this design review committee. And it has ample language that we will be using those Secretary of Interior standards and the other documents that we always used anytime a project comes forward. So I really feel good about this project coming forward to the design review committee. So I don't see a need for any other action on a legislative front right now.
Any other questions? Would anybody like to make a motion to approve?
I'll motion to approve the request for approval for the downtown facade program application by Molly Thornton and Union Coffee House at 115 East Front Street.
Thank you. Is there support?
No. Money will support.
There you go.
It's
Thank
a
you.
race.
Can we have roll call, please?
Dennison?
Abstain.
Pardon?
Abstain.
Abstain. Abstain.
We need unanimous on this one.
Downey?
Yes.
Money?
Yes.
Wait a minute.
Excuse me.
Dan.
No, no.
He's
Dan, I'll have you removed. No more.
He's part of that business. He owns that building.
Do it, Dan, you're out
Why are
of.
you
Tim,
abstaining?
there's the door.
You guys are gonna do this? I don't care. I will walk up. You know, you're not following your own Robert's rules. He has to abstain, and he has to give his excuse. I can't believe this.
Good grief. Where were we?
Swam?
Yes.
Whedon?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. I'm very much in support of the application, but because I'm actually quoting and providing the signs for Molly's store, I feel it's not proper for me to vote.
Agreed. Agreed.
Thank you, guys. I would like to say that it's just a coincidence that you two are involved in my project and sitting there at the same time.
It's a small town.
Yeah, it's a nice thing, and it's.
I couldn't be happier for you, and I think it's a
Absolutely.
great addition to downtown, and I hope that more follow suit.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's one of the most revered businesses downtown for not only the people who live in the city, but for people who visit. And so couldn't be more proud.
And the prime location,
Yeah.
you know. So, yeah, we're fortunate in both aspects, and
There it
All right,
is.
thank you.
Thank you, Commission. I would just add that I am very excited about this project because it speaks to so many of the best practices of downtown revitalization in terms of leveraging history, walkability, attention to design detail. I think the sign is pretty cool, and it does have a cool factor. And I'm excited that more businesses are expressing interest in these design elements downtown that will attract the market's attention. So I think it's a great project, and hopefully many more to come after this. My second item is, I had always framed these two programs as works in progress. I always told you guys that I'm constantly talking to investors, getting feedback as we're writing these and building the airplane in the air. It's not in a vacuum because we're getting feedback from the market, we're getting feedback from investors. The other thing is in what I would call a developing downtown, or downtown Buchanan, there's various businesses that are at different points of evolution in terms of establishment. Some have been there a while. Some have been investing for many months or over a year or more to get ready to open. Some are in the strategic planning stages where they may be purchasing a building or planning their business or their business implementation. So for that, I've always seen these programs to be works in progress. We want to make them better. We want to keep the discussion going. So I am going to bring two discussion items forward for you to consider that I think are worthy for your consideration regarding the facade program and the restaurant incentive program. I'm going to start with the restaurant incentive. Certain best practice says the restaurant must be open before payment is made, so to speak. And that's to safeguard that kind of give the city leverage that the restaurant is opening. From my perspective, my charge is to get restaurants open. And to the extent that there's any hurdles in the way to doing that, I want to remove those hurdles. So in discussion with one investor, a hurdle to opening the restaurant is that they won't be open because they need this very grant in order to open. And that's what's been expressed to me. I had looked at this as making a more flexible provision on the restaurant incentive program for you to consider. That basically the proposed amendment would be the city commission will offer a new downtown restaurant that is not yet open for business, but with imminent plans to open, funding assistance with existing program terms and including any one-time necessary purchases for inventory food supplies that are for the sole purpose of the restaurant opening its doors for the first time. My job is to try to get businesses open, to have discussions with the marketplace, to bring the things that are worthy for your consideration to you. That's what I'm doing with this proposed amendment. I'm open to any questions. I respect the commission's guidance on this.
I would like to open it first. Go ahead, Mark.
So I think first and foremost, that, we have to look at this from the position that as we introduce this, we met it at the precipice of individuals who were looking to bring businesses to the city, in addition to you enticing businesses to come in that were restaurants. So I think this is a huge opportunity, and it's really going to be something that is limited to this one unique situation for businesses that have already spent an extensive amount of money to meet the criteria, but just fell before the initiation of this program. So if we were to not entertain this type of situation, then in essence we're saying to these other potential new customers that this could be how things are. We're setting a precedence, and so I think we have to entertain this idea that if we want more restaurants, and the people have done the due diligence leading up to this, but don't fall into the timeline of this categorical restrictions, then I think we are cutting our nose off to spite our face. So in essence, I'm agreeing with you. I think this is something that we really need to consider and allow these companies who have been, and individuals who have spent an extensive amount of money to really entice the community to want to be in their space, and this helps them to achieve that. And once again, this is just my perception. Everybody can disagree, and that's okay. That's why we have 5 of us.
Any other comments?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to reviewing them on case-by-case scenarios. I think there's structure in the plan for a reason. But if a business owner, and I think we all are aware of which one this is, can show or can prove that there are extenuating circumstances preventing them from open, but they are truly going to open within 30 days of receiving the funds or something like that. I'd hate for this to be pushed out 6 months for them to open. We're talking about $10,000, so while that can sway things one way or another a little bit, some of these investments are significantly larger, and I hate to hand out $10,000 just to wait another 6 months for something to open. So, open to looking at it outside the box. If that business would like to come talk, give a demonstration as to why 10 grand is preventing them from opening their doors, let's figure out a way to get them open, but they need to open. That's the key there. So, and be in compliance with other areas that, whether other their funding programs or whatever they are. I don't want any stone to be unturned if we're going to have a quote-unquote policy exception. But let's find a way to get their doors open, absolutely.
So are you saying you'd be in favor of not adding an addendum, but rather just working with what we already have in place and looking at it as a...
Yeah, I'd like them to come and speak to us as to why we need to make an exception to the standard.
Okay.
I mean, we'd like
the
to-
standard we just
Yeah,
approved.
absolutely.
Yeah.
We want to see the business plan, right? If your business plan dictates that this $10,000 allows you to open in X number of months or days or whatever the case may be, it gives justification for the
Yeah.
10,000. I
If
mean,
it's
it-
$100 grand,
but that's my
different
question,
story.
though, is do we really need to amend what we've already approved at the last meeting, or do we just need to let Rich work with this and take every business owner as they come in and say, hey, I think I need some help? Do we just want to look at that on a,
Yeah.
Case-by-case basis,
Yeah, I'd like people to comply with the current rules that we have, but know that we want to be flexible, we want to work with these people to get the doors open, but if they need it in advance instead of way we have it structured now, come have a conversation with us, where our goal is to help them, though.
Right. And knowing that in particular, this situation that we're all aware of is that it's going to lead to, when we utilize the opportunity to issue liquor licenses, that's a significant advantage that we hold to get these new businesses in, and the current ones that are available that need that to generate a high degree of value and revenue, sorry.
Yeah,
So-
we run the risk of people taking the money and not opening on
And not
time
opening.
is my concern.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I try to write these with giving you the most discretion possible. Because what you don't want to do is have red tape that stops investment.
Right.
So,
Right.
I mean, let's not take ourselves up. Let's allow that discretion to be your power that we need.
Yeah.
I'm just going to think out loud here, but one of the things that makes me nervous, and it kind of, Patrick kind of alluded to it, was if you've gone through all these steps and you have all these things in place and you still need $5,000 or $10,000 to open, there's something more there, I think. It just worries me a little bit that, I don't know, I just have reservations about that.
But
To
we
play
want to
the
make,
devil- to play the devil's advocate on that, then it justifies our ask to have them present. Because if you've spent an extensive amount of money, that it goes beyond even your own capabilities, knowing that the only thing holding you back, not necessarily is the $10,000, but these limitations of inventory that maybe you hadn't anticipated because you're a new restaurateur, right? That can be understood, but once again, it's to your point. We want to hear the entirety of that and what that justifies, right? It's in agreement, but I think that it's further clarification.
Comments? Questions?
Nope. I agree totally.
Do you want to speak to the next?
Yes, so the next one is of similar nature, in that you're dropping an incentive on the market when everybody is at a different point in their evolution of their business model, and it's never fair, right? In my experience, though, I know that when you can try to make it fair, or at least think about how you can make it fair, and the result could be opening a business, job creation, et cetera, it makes sense to entertain that. So, again, this is brought to you in the same vein, proposing considerations for businesses who have existing DDA loans. The city commission will offer a business with an existing DDA loan the same forgivable terms of the Buchanan facade program if the business meets all other terms of the program. Just to give you an example, if an existing business has an outstanding DDA loan, with permission of the commission, the existing loans can be assigned forgivable terms under the new facade program. Under the new facade program, they meet everything else. So that's the consideration that I'm bringing to you that I think is worthy of consideration and discussion. Just entertain your guidance on that as well.
What's the current outstanding balance?
I think around 13,000, if I'm not mistaken.
I think this is in general, though, for any of these.
Yeah,
'Cause that's the
it is.
purpose. It's
It
not-
is.
we have one
This
that's
is in
not-
totality of outstanding.
The issue is that if both of these can't be resolved, they can't really, an investor may not be able to move forward on a project that has arguably several $100,000 in investment already. I mean, that's kind of what, that's the discussion I've had, and that's the discussion I'm bringing to you.
I mean, to me, I don't know how you guys feel, but I personally, if this does involve the exact same establishment for both of these discussion topics, then I think it behooves them to present to us a business plan and a return on investment, opportunities, timelines, and I think it leads into exactly what you're saying. I don't think it's beyond the scope of our ask to have them to ask them to do so, because if they've spent this amount of money, then I guarantee there's an opportunity for us to get this information and really digest it to make the right decision. I don't think that we're going to be in this situation multiple times over, because we're also dealing with a unique situation of this topic.
Well,
So,
when Rich brought this to me originally, my response was much like what Patrick already just said. I would rather not amend what we just approved at the
Right.
last meeting. I would rather them come in and tell us, let us know, how can we help you?
Right.
I mean, I think we're all in favor of helping businesses open downtown.
Right.
I'd rather not blanket what we just approved. I'd rather look at this on a individual basis.
Once again, I agree. We're setting a precedence.
Yeah,
right?
and it's a discussion worth having with not only the business owners and us, and we can try and figure out what we can do to help them. But personally, I would rather not amend what we just approved. That's just my opinion.
It's hard to get every situation laid out in front of you and then say yea or nay.
Right.
But once we say it depends on the situation, and then we set a precedence, then what are we gonna do? I mean, it almost has to be black and white.
Right.
Or we go back to several other issues we've had in the past where we've refused to set a precedent.
So,
Right.
I'll come out and say, the city's not in a position where we can just blanket forgive loans. I mean, we sat through, you weren't able to be here, but the pre-Newhoff meeting, our financial state with the expenditures we have upcoming, we're not in a spot where we can forgive loans, especially loans that are not in good standing and haven't been paid in many, many months.
Many months.
So I'm not in favor of loan forgiveness. This isn't ITT Tech or whatever, or not the federal government. People need to pay their loans. They entered an agreement to pay us back. That's the expectation. And that was to get a business open 4 years ago, I want to say, and it's still not open. So not to say that they didn't make sizable investment, very much appreciated, but we got to be careful on that, in my opinion. So.
I'm trying to understand what you just said, though. So you think if we bring people in,
We can't pick and choose. That's what it's gonna look like.
Because that's exactly what used to happen, right? I mean, outside of going into that hole.
See, I would disagree. I think we're all smart enough, I think the city staff is smart enough to be able to bring people in here who are investing money downtown, who need help, who have supposedly legitimate reasons for needing help, and they can explain it to us. And I think that we could figure out, maybe we don't maybe we don't forgive their loans, or maybe we don't do this, that, or the other, but I'm betting we can come up with some way of helping them get their doors open.
Agreed. and
That
I
would
think-
be, that would be my opinion.
I agreed, and I think we need to go back to the businessman presentation. I don't think it's outside of the scope of a request to ask them to bring in justifiable lineage and timelines to show us, right? Show what you've done, show us what your opportunities are, and what does that look like? I think then, people for far too long ran the city like a personal agenda for their own items, and that's not the way the city commission works. I can guarantee they feel the same way. This is a business, and the business is we got to keep the city moving in the right direction. We have to gain a revenue, and we have to find every opportunity to do so. And it's our responsibility to be fiscally conservative. And much to your point, and to everybody's point, is that that's our responsibility. And if we start to set a precedence that you can come in and just give us some wish-washy request over why you need it, but it's not justified with any potential ROI for the city, then what's the point, right?
Rich, do you have anything else you want to add?
I think that's very helpful and wise discussion that I just listened to. My thing is, I want to help an investor if I can. And I want to, if there's a way to do it, I will figure it out, think harder about it.
And I appreciate that. And that alone makes me know that we have the right person in the right chair doing the right job. So I get that. But I think I don't want to speak for these guys, but I think we're trying to do the right thing for everyone involved, not just that business owner, but the 4,500 other people who live here who are helping to pay these loans. And I think we have a duty to them.
Yep.
Would anybody like to make a motion on this addendum, or no?
No, I think our motions we have no motion
No
needed.
motion. I'm not.
Okay.
However,
Yes.
you are open to having a discussion with the investor.
Absolutely, any
Yeah.
day.
What would the preferred setting be? be a city commission meeting?
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, they have no reason to not be transparent. If we're being completely transparent and we're giving of ourselves in this forum, I don't see any reason.
And the bottom line is they're asking for their money,
I was
not
gonna say,
our
they're
money.
asking
They're
for
asking
money
for
out
their
there.
money.
Well, we've had a
Absolutely.
$5,000 limit on everybody else that wants us to approve expenditures. More than likely, that's going to apply
I
to
don't
any of
think
these.
that's an unfair ask.
And please have timelines associated with.
Yeah, I mean, just to be clear, I'm gonna go back to this investor and basically say the commission wants to listen to your plan to open, and they will consider their discretion as it pertains to these two programs.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Sounds great, yep.
Thank you very much. Okay, so under unfinished business, we had to add an item. Chief Gaines is going to speak to us regarding some fire department requests.
Again, good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Chief Adams could not be here tonight, so I'm going to kind of stand in for him, talk about a grant that I believe he brought to you guys back in February. It's an AFG grant. I'll give you a little backstory just to kind of help understand it a little bit. Back in 2003, the Buchanan Fire Department purchased 12 SCBAs. Those are self-contained breathing apparatus. And it was through the same grant. These packs are still in service, but they're hoping to replace them with this new grant. These SCBA packs, they meet the standards today, but obviously things have changed over the last few years, and they're having some difficulties with repairs, and then the battery life. They run on a battery. So for those who don't know, these are air packs that they put on when they go inside a fire, and they're able to breathe fresh air and or oxygen instead of all the crud that's in the smoke and everything. So they're starting to get at the end of their lifespan. Actually, one of these SCBA packs is only good for about 15 years. We're into 18 years on the ones that they have already purchased back in 2003. So they've got obviously new technology, they work better and those kind of things. So when Chief Adams talked to you guys back in, I believe in February, he advised you that the Buchanan City Fire Department, Bertrand Township Fire Department, Glean, and Niles City decided to go into a regional coalition after this grant. So they combined these fire departments to help maybe get this grant awarded. It seems like these days that's the way that they want to do these grants. I know some of the grants that the police department has gone after, they have kind of given them to the county and then they distribute them. So that's what the fire department's looking at, kind of that same idea. So with that said, the total grant that these four fire departments are going after is $426,570. That's the total grant that's spread out over those four fire departments. Also, an interesting fact is one of these air packs that they use costs $6,992.75. That's what one pack costs. So if you do the math, they're looking at purchasing or getting 12 packs. That equals out to $83,913. So on this grant, what they're looking at is for municipalities, our fire departments, our city here, to do a match on the grant. So to be able to give the fire department these 12 brand new top-of-the-line, new technology packs, the city would only have to spend $8,391.30. That's a 10% match. And basically, these grants are getting ready to be awarded. With the other fire departments and municipalities, we're just trying to see if that's something that the city is wanting to move forward on, so when we do get these awarded, we kind of know which way we're going to go and everything like that. So with that said, I'd be happy to answer any questions. I also brought in Assistant Chief Blaylock to assist me with any of these fire questions, but go ahead.
Is there a deadline for submitting?
It's already been submitted. and we're waiting on if it's going to be awarded, but they're also, like I said, it's a combined grant, and we kind of need to know if this is what we're going to do, because it affects all the other departments because they combined it.
Yeah, I think we actually, when we motioned on this in February, we had to commit to that funding at that time.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought we committed to that.
I agree, I thought we did too.
And then I'm not sure, and Barb could probably look that up, but I thought we committed to that,
We can commit again. You want to make a motion?
and, yeah, you know
He
I
wants to
will.
keep moving.
You know I'll make the motion.
Sure.
I'll
Because I served with this fire service for many years, and this is one of the essential pieces of equipment that they need.
Yes.
So.
They use that almost every fire. I mean, they do, to go in and do the things they do. It's pretty amazing.
Well, the new standards on most fire departments require you to be in a SCBA pack, and then with all of the stuff that's in the building materials and stuff now, it wasn't as bad when I was there years ago, but it is bad for these guys.
Yes.
And, you know, like I said, we have family members that serve on there, and
How do you, after you've used this in a fire, how do you reuse it? Do you clean it? Is there a filter you change, or?
Actually, we have an air compressor that fills, we refill our bottles.
Oh.
So all the bottles are refilled. The interesting thing about cost so far is Chief Gaines did a very good job of speaking, talking about the NFPA standard, which is pretty much just like fire trucks or anything else. You have an association that mandates what we have. And it's just like with, say for instance, and this isn't, the problem is you can't buy, okay, I don't want this, I want the tailgate, but I don't want, you can't do that. That's the problem. Like the new NFK standard used to be, you would have 25% of your bottle be left. And then you would have an alarm that would vibrate and then also make an audible sound. So that would make the person aware that they're getting low air. It's now at 33%. Do we need 33% for Buchanan? Problem is you can't. They bring up the standard usually because of line of duty deaths or whatever, somewhere. Same way with the pass device. The pass devices are now integrated, or have been integrated, and now they're actually improving those. So it isn't like I can go, well, I don't want that pass device, I want this. They all will do maybe not the same thing, because every pack will actually offer you something different, but it's going to be the same standard. So that's the problem, is you have these standards that are coming up. Well, standards, as you know, and everything costs you lots and lots of money. So that's a lot of the problem is for us to stay, in Buchanan, we could stay probably at the low air alarm at 25% with no problems. The problem with it is they don't make them.
You're not allowed, yeah.
So
This is a no-brainer to me.
Yeah.
Oh,
Would anybody
yeah.
like to make a motion?
I think the motion.
Oh, I make the motion that we approve the grant.
Is there support?
Support for $8,392, is that correct amount?
The correct amount be $8,391.30.
Let's give yourself 70 cents.
You're the money guy, you do
There you
that.
go.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I support.
Thank you. Can we have a roll call, please?
Money,
Yes.
Swam,
Yes.
Whedon,
Yes.
Dennison,
Yes.
Downey,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Commissioner.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Oh,
Chief.
one point of reference, though, fire hydrants, just because we're on the topic. They're not really fire hydrants, but it has to do with fire, and I have safety and safety. Just communication from a neighboring fire department that just asked if we would look at how tight our fire hydrants are tightened to. They've had difficulties on multiple different fire hydrants, and once again, I don't have numbers, I don't have locations. He just asked if I would, cast that line out there for us to. You would be better served to
Has to be the
understand.
top nut, Bob, that you.
That, I do not know, so yes, I appreciate any candor to help understand that.
Mike knows.
We got a hand back.
So on that note,
Mhm.
when we find a tight one, when we're getting ready to do our flushing.
Okay.
That's why we exercise them twice a year. also clean our water lines.
Right.
If we find a tight one, we will change it.
Perfect. And it really was from a point of reference of safety. It had zero to do with judgment of the Buchanan Fire Department at all. It was just simply like, if I can't get it open, or if I'm struggling.
So some of those fire hydrants, the old Traverse Cities,
Okay.
sometimes when they lock down really, really tight. It's just a big valve that goes down and tightens up, and then the brass, the rubber's gone, and it's brass on brass, and it locks itself together. You also have water, or you have brass on cast.
And then it's just
metal.
pressure. And then it's pressure.
It's the similar metals, and it locks itself in, and you break the stem off generally with a 4-foot bar, and you go flying across the yard.
Okay, and that's probably exactly, I mean, not to that exact.
So,
I just wanted to, once again, point of reference.
Yeah, no, very good.
I appreciate that. It was a perfect spot to.
All right,
Thank
thank you,
you.
Chief.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Blaylock. All right. Let's move on to new business. Item A, Sardor V. from Blackbird
Yes.
LLC.
Mayor, excited to share a new business that is courting Buchanan. Sartor Vahikov and Rhett Johnson of Blackbird LLC contacted me several weeks ago, interested in a property at 402, 404 South Oak. I began the special use process for them to go down that pathway for a adult use class grow C facility. Had a regular plan commission meeting where they presented a very strong business model and site plan concept. There were some questions by the plan commission. We went back and forth, and they made the plan better with some feedback from the chairman of the plan commission and other members. And just had a special meeting this evening at 6 o'clock to the special use permit was approved at the regular plan commission with the condition that the site plan would be approved with exterior details. We went through that process. That happened at 6 o'clock tonight. Very impressed with these guys, young entrepreneurs that are choosing Buchanan, putting business into buildings that have been vacant for a long time, with experience, and bringing about 10 jobs, and so a lot of dollars of investment in their infrastructure. And their site plan, I think, is very compatible with the neighborhood. We've gone through that. So now they are moving on to the next step to apply for their Class C grow permit. And they have completed the application, and I have reviewed the application and all the accompanying documentation. The required background checks have been done by the police department. However, we do not have, I think, 2 cities came back. This is a typical situation with larger cities. In the case of Long Beach and Chicago, we have not heard back yet. Every other aspect of their application is in line. All permit fees have been collected. I have sign-offs from those city departments. They have a real estate closing, I believe, on October 1st. And what I'm asking for is, I believe there is precedent for this, is for you to consider approval contingent upon that background coming back fine, which I really have no question that it wouldn't. So that's what I have for you tonight.
Any questions for Mr. Murphy?
What was the vote from the planning commission?
Unanimous.
Unanimous, yes.
I've got a problem with some of these new businesses coming to town, and the buildings have sit empty for months, years. And we talked about putting limits on how long it could take to get these up and running. I think we should start considering that.
Yeah, that's right, you did bring that up. I can't remember which facility that was. Was it on South Redbud?
No.
No,
River
there's
Street.
out in the industrial park.
Well, Post Road and River Street, right. There's two
Yeah,
two
okay.
spaces, two properties right now that have still continued their licenses but have not completed build-out.
Like, it's 12 months, right? And
Yeah,
is it-
I understand the concern. I mean, they're still paying for the license. We also have had some kind of atypical economic situation.
It has been.
Well,
Supply chain stuff.
with that license, though, is got financial incentive behind it, right? Isn't that how one of the locations downtown ended up coming to be? I voted no on it, that's why I didn't bring it up, because they had a family falling out or something, and next thing we know, Emporium is top of the line to buy their license, so now it's like a liquor license where it still needs approval by us, but it's a financial instrument now. So somebody else is, they're first in the list, but now they're top broker for who really could move into that. So I agree with you. We need to make sure that timeline is established with them and set an expectation. But I'm not against it.
Before my time.
Might have been, but yeah. It was right when I was brand new, so.
You know what I'd like to see is a current list of all the licenses and available licenses left, because I'm a little lost here in the last 2.5 years.
Yeah, I have that.
What's still left over.
It took me several months to
Find it.
You're right.
fact check that.
Right.
But I do have a solid spreadsheet that I can share.
Yeah, please do.
Did you have another question?
No, I don't.
So do we have a list of people looking to do similar type projects in town that have applied for licenses, and these are just the first ones that have acquired some real estate, or is this the only one that we're aware of?
Well, we had the processing one that we did a couple months ago.
Kitty corner from this.
Yeah.
I can't tell you, I'm getting constant calls about it.
And I can tell you from sitting on the planning commission and listening to the folks who, from Blackbird LLC, they're investing their life savings to move from California to Buchanan, Michigan to do this. They strolled around our town. They loved it. They're looking forward to being good neighbors and good partners with the city. So I'm very much in favor of approving this. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I'm good with
Would
it.
anybody like to make a motion? But I don't disagree with Commissioner Downey that I think we need to look at the timelines for permit renewals. I think currently it's 12 months, right, that we renew them.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys wanted to, I could put out inquiries to those businesses anticipating the renewal. They'd probably get back to me real quick on their business plan.
Well, I think if they knew how much interest was in the community right now, it might light a fire to make things happen.
I can't say too much on the topic, but it's a point of reference, right? How many renewals are we going to allow to, right? We've seen that happen in the last
Well, I
couple
mean, but I'm talking about like every year we renew.
Right, but I'm saying the
permits.
renewals that don't follow within that
Right.
12
Well,
months.
I think, yeah.
Only in that's, right, the other ones we know when
Yeah.
renewals
Yeah.
are necessary, but
Mhm.
everything else that's not built out.
Right.
Either
Okay,
way,
one renewal, we can understand that, but once again,
How far?
how
yeah.
far out are you?
Or maybe we do the 12 months the first time, and then every time after that, if nothing's been done, it's down to 6 months, then it's down to 3 months, and then maybe they lose their permit. I don't
Right, and we
know.
need presentations, right? I mean, if we give you 6 months, once again, this is just for a frame of reference, at 6 months, if you can show definitive progress within the 6 months, once again, with the business plan, I mean, we have to get into this.
I would just stress right now, we expect them to open within their renewal period, by their renewal period. That's the goal, that's the expectation. Get in touch with us well in advance if you're not going to meet that deadline.
Yeah, I mean, the vast majority of these principals are amazing to deal with, actually, very, right on, and I'm impressed with them. There was a business last year that took a little longer, but they worked with them, got them online.
Mhm.
I think there's 2 other businesses maybe that it's time for me to go back and say, well, where are we? When I can do that.
Yep.
I appreciate that.
And I
Thank you.
think that, just because of knowledge, and So the micro business, right, we've still got that over there by the tracks, right? That would be one of them, right? We're at timeline on that. But just for another point of reference, the state has now issued an opportunity for them to become what they call a micro A business. I'll get more details to you guys. I just started reading about it this week. But it is something the state is looking into because they understand the complexities of running a micro business and only having 150 plants and the limitations that puts you under within the state policies. So they now are offering a micro A business, which allows them to grow more plants, still under the same micro business type of mentality, but it is an increased license fee, but doesn't give them a lot more flexibility within the scope of running a business in the micro business space. So I'll provide more information, I'm sure, Rich, it's out there. It's not something that's proprietary to me. I'm just making it aware that, those are things that in your discussions could add some value to that individual, and maybe that was a limitation as to why they didn't know. So, frame of reference only
Yeah, I know
for the public.
with that business and the other one.
That's for the redevelopment.
That's right.
Cool. All right.
Okay, somebody would like to make a motion?
I'll motion to approve the Class C grow permit application for Blackbird LLC.
Thank you. Is there support? I'm sorry, can we restate that so that
did
it's
I
contingent
approve
on the background checks?
Contingent upon the background check.
I'll support.
Thank you. Can we have a roll call, please?
Swam,
Yes.
Whedon,
Abstain?
Dennison,
Yes.
Downey,
Yes.
Money,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have Jason Leitz, the Chair of the Plan Commission, is here to tell us about the Buchanan Master Plan 2021.
Good evening, Commissioners. Jason Leitz, Chair of the Planning Commission. I'm here representing the Planning Commission, and I'm very pleased to report that on our September 14th, 2021 meeting that we adopted the master plan. It's been a long time coming. Work began on the master plan in 2018, believe it or not. And I want to thank several folks for helping get this across the finish line. I'd like to thank Rich and Marcy Hamilton with the Southwest Michigan Planning Commission. All of you who participated in many meetings, was extremely active, probably the most active city commission that we had during the 3-year period as far as helping shepherd that through to completion. Also want to recognize a couple planning commissioners whose names won't be listed on the inside cover of that plan, but were very instrumental. That would be Richard Galt and Dale Turney, who had a lot of input in the early years of the master planning process. A couple highlights for you that I just want to acknowledge that I think the city can be very proud of. I've been part of 2 previous master plans through the city of Buchanan, and this one has 2 distinctives that I really want to cast a light on. Number 1 has to do with the community involvement in the development of the plan. There were 2 rounds of seeking community input. The first one was in the summer of 2018. There was a community survey, and there were 455 responses, individual responses from people in our community who offered their input. I think that's notable. And then because of the time lapse, we decided to do a follow-up online survey just to kind of take the pulse again. That was done in January of this year, and there were 484 participants in that as well. So if you talk to a lot of other cities and communities, that's a real high bar that Buchanan set. The other thing I want to highlight is the action plan that's included. A lot of these master plans are kind of desktop exercises, to be honest with you. They have a lot of facts and figures, a lot of goals and objectives, but they don't go into a means of how to get to those goals and objectives. And we were very conscientious about making sure this plan had that in there. There are 51 specific actions. It's on page 66 of the plan. And it calls out the individual or department who is in the lead on accomplishing that action and a tentative time frame to accomplish that. Now, those can be reviewed and amended over time, but having a roadmap was essential, and I think we can all be proud that our plan includes that. So with that, even though we have adopted it, and by statute it's in effect, we thought as it was unanimous on the Planning Commission to seek the City Commission's approval as well, just to show your support for having that be the basis upon which the city was going to build going forward, both with the community redevelopment ready process, as well as the next step for the Planning Commission is going to be updating the zoning ordinance, which this plan will be the basis for that. So with that, we seek and ask your support for also adopting the master plan.
Well,
Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. Before I ask for a motion, I would like to, while you're standing in front of everyone, tell you how grateful I am to have you on the Planning Commission and how thorough you are. Ralph can contest. It's great to have somebody who knows what they're doing on the Planning Commission, and your thoroughness is Rich can attest. You are top notch, and we're lucky to have you.
Well, appreciate the feedback. This is a pure volunteer, kind of a passion project for me. So appreciate that.
Would anybody like to make a motion to consider adoption of this resolution?
This is Money. I would make a motion to adopt resolution number 2021.09/236 to the Buchanan City Master Plan.
Thank you. Is there support?
I'll support.
Can we have roll call, please?
Whedon,
Yes.
Dennison,
Yes.
Downey,
Yes.
Money,
Yes.
Swam,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Thanks
Jason.
again, Jason.
Thank you,
Thanks, Ralph.
Thank you, Jason.
Okay, we're going to move on to the redevelopment-ready communities. This past week, we received a baseline report from the MEDC, the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. For those of you who are unfamiliar, what this report does is show where we are currently and what steps we need to take to get where we want to be. It's a starting point. It's in its most basic form, just a checklist, showing how we've done on steps we've already taken, and it lays out what we need to do in order to be redevelopment ready in the eyes of the MEDC. Excuse me. To be quite frank, it shows that the city of Buchanan has a lot of work to do. But near as I can tell, that's never been an issue for the people of Buchanan. Everyone who wants to improve at something uses a checklist of some sort. The things we need to improve on, areas that need attention, or things that we have a good grasp on and shouldn't be committing time to. And as we improve, we check it off the list. That's not a bad thing. That shows a commitment, a conscious effort to try and improve. The gentleman from the MEDC sent the report to the city manager and subsequently asked her to send the report on to the commission, the planning commission, the zoning board of appeals, and design review. City manager Grace did so, and unfortunately, the report was shared with a member of the public who does not sit on any of said boards and felt it necessary to respond directly to the MEDC with an opinionated laundry list of gripes and complaints, and then asked his friends downtown to do the same. The emails sent show a clear lack of intelligence. They obviously have no clue what's going on inside the walls of City Hall, or they're intentionally trying to sabotage any progress the city is attempting to make. Either way, their input is not helpful. Please educate yourself on what the city is currently doing so you do not undermine the progress we're all working so hard to make with the MEDC. Sharing of privileged information and working against City Hall as a whole does not sit well with me. And my guess is that the rest of the commission feels the same way. To the board member who shared the information with the public and to the property owners downtown who emailed the MEDC, if you are unable or unwilling to work with us, if you can't imagine rowing in the same direction as the rest of us, please exit our boat. Mr. Murphy?
Thank you, Mayor. We've been talking about redevelopment-ready communities for a little while now. It's one of the first things that Heather and I talked about after Heather hired me, and you hired me. What I think it means is that it means that when we say we want to be a better city, we mean it. That's what it means to me. That we'll I'll roll up our sleeves and say, hey, we know that there's work to do, so let's do it because we're serious about competing in the redevelopment and economic development arena. That we want our zoning to get better, that we want our plans and public engagement to get better, that we want our boards and commissions to have best practices, that we want our economic development strategy to be strong. I really feel like it's kind of a way for the state to say, hey, we're going to help the communities that help themselves too. Show us that you are going to put these best practices in line. Yeah, it's going to take a little while. But we have a roadmap, and we have, we have a lot of greens. It's green, yellow, red. We have a few yellows that I think we can flip to green, and then we got a few reds. Hey, that's the reality, right? But at least we're showing the leadership and to say, let's start this journey and let's get better. So I'm excited about it. I'm engaging in the training right now. It's Tuesday nights for the next 9 weeks. That's the baseline training. And from there, we will have action plans, and we will move forward. And our goal is to be certified. So certified gets us the best package with the MEDC. Gives us the biggest toolbox. So this is the step for the commission to take. By statute, you need to authorize the implementation of the recommendations necessary. That gives me and Heather and the rest of the city team our marching orders to move forward. We will update you on those steps that we take, and it can take anywhere from a year to, I think one community took 5 years. I don't think it's going to take us 5 years. I think we want to set a goal and get it done sooner than later. And I'm excited. It's a good thing.
Very good. Anyone have any RRC questions, comments?
Yeah, I do. Rich.
Yeah.
We keep hearing about this toolbox. Everybody's got a toolbox that we want to get into. Tell us about these tools. I'd like to hear.
One of them is the community revitalization program that we toured this MEDC team with 2 weeks ago. It's probably the strongest and best tool that exists in the state of Michigan for redevelopment. And we identified 2 projects that are good, that have good legs in Buchanan. And we toured those projects with the property owners and the MEDC team. And one of the projects is, I believe, moving forward with the purchase agreement. And that's a big deal. If we can get some of these larger buildings on Front Street that have been vacant for decades, inhabited with upper story residential and downstairs retail, that is a very strong signal. It's a symbol, really, of obsolete building coming back. That's one of the tools. There's many more, including brownfield tools, including historic tax credits. We also, half the team from the state was from the State Preservation Office of the state of Michigan. They were educating our investors and Heather and I on how federal tax credits work. And we spent most of the day with them. And by the way, they were the first state tour in over 13 months, I believe she said. 18 months. And they chose to, because of COVID, they chose to come to Buchanan, Michigan, and redevelopment sites with us. So we, this is about walking the sites. It's about learning about the tools. It's about the relationships we made that night, that day, introducing them to the city leadership, and it's about this redevelopment readies program that we show them that we're serious. We're going to implement these best practices. So, those are some of the tools. We saw another tool tonight. The facade program is a tool that has engaged the market.
And if I can just add, I think the other thing that it does is it requires us to take action on things. It makes things happen. We have to, or we don't qualify. I mean, that alone, it makes things happen, or we don't qualify. We have to get things done. I mean,
it's a perfect example of if everybody who's been here, we know that many of you do show up on a weekly basis when we have these meetings, and we do appreciate that. And it's a big point of reference that we've the three of us personally caught heat for a lot of decisions that were made. However, in those difficult decisions, we now are in a position to do far greater things. They were limited by small thinking. That it was an example of what Sean brought up tonight. We are going to continue to have these individuals who like to live in their echo chambers, and that's okay. They can live there, and we'll progress past them. And then they'll wish they were on board, and they'll be begging for our assistance at some point to advance their businesses. And it's not as though we'll forget, but we'll try to understand their difficulties at that time. But at the same time, you've got to row the boat. I mean, it's something that P.J. Fleck did at Western Michigan University and did it exceptionally well, better than anybody had ever done at Western Michigan. And that's not by accident. His professionalism and his candor at a young age dictated that the success was going to be proven, and he showed everybody he could do it. And I think it's a testament to your hard work, everybody at the City Hall's hard work, and Sean, in your communication, anybody who has communication through MEDC or these programs, it's gonna net a great benefit to the city. So it's super exciting. So thank you for that.
Anybody like to make a motion for this resolution?
A motion to adopt resolution 2021.09/237, authorizing the implementation recommendations necessary to receive redevelopment ready community certification from the Michigan Economic Development Corporation.
Thank you. Is there support?
I'll support.
We have roll call, please.
Dennison.
Yes.
Downey.
Yes.
Money.
Yes.
Swam.
Yes.
Whedon.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Now, we added an item D to new business. Rich, I don't know, did you want to speak to that, or do you want me to just
Yeah, you can just
read this?
Yeah.
Let me read this. So Clerk Barbara Pitcher was issued a used city phone so that she could be more responsive to email, internal text, and social media outside of normal work hours. She has used the phone for that purpose and as her personal phone for approximately 1 year. Her personal phone number was ported to the phone, and a transfer of billing responsibility will be completed prior to her last day on September 30th, 2021. Steps will be taken to ensure no city apps or data can be accessed by Pitcher, and none of Pitcher's personal apps or data can be accessed by the other party going forward. Upon her resignation from the city, it is proposed that the City Commission consider offering the iPhone 11 Pro Max to Barbara Pitcher at the current trade-in value of $430. Does anybody have any questions or comments or concerns, or would anyone like to make a motion to approve this sale agreement?
I would make the motion that we accept the proposal.
Thank you. Is there support?
I'll support.
Thanks. Can we have roll call, please?
Downey.
Yes.
Money.
Yes.
Swam.
No.
Whedon.
Yes.
Dennison.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. All right, now, Rich, I don't know, and I'm sorry, City Manager Grace is under the weather this evening, so she wasn't able to make it. She did tell me it is the first City Commission meeting she has ever missed in her career, and she felt terrible, not only about missing the meeting, but she also really felt terrible. So we're going to excuse her. I know some of these were her communications. I don't know if you can speak to them, Rich, or not.
I can try to find them. They were just for communication. Item A was communication from the Southwest Michigan Tourist Council. The council reflects on the year 2020 and looks forward to plans for 2021.
And, I mean, if you can't speak to them, that's fine. I mean, we're not going to hold you to it. I know she...
You can handle the tree planting, right?
Yeah, the tree planting thing, you know, I was going to bring that up in my comments anyway tonight, but it's already on the agenda. So volunteers are needed for tree planting October 16th. Relief Michigan, a nonprofit tree organization, is partnering with the City of Buchanan, the Buchanan Tree Friends, St. Joe River Basin Commission, the Indiana DNR, Davie Resource Group, and the MDNR, Urban and Community Forestry Program, to plant 50 trees on Saturday, October 16th, 2021 at Buchanan City Hall and along East Front Street, Buchanan Middle School, and on 3rd Street. Trees provide many benefits to communities, such as shade, improving economic vitality of commercial districts, absorbing stormwater, and reducing carbon in our atmosphere. Funding for the program is provided through a U.S. Forest Service Great Lakes Restoration Initiative grant awarded to Relief, Michigan, to support and expand local capacity to manage community forests and trees. Tree locations were determined based on the result of a tree canopy assessment, which identified areas where trees would have the most environmental, economic, and aesthetic impact. Masks are recommended because of the number of volunteers that will be working that day. Volunteers are asked to wear closed-toe shoes, comfortable clothing, and bring a shovel and work gloves if they have them. The group will meet at Buchanan City Hall at 8:45 a.m. to sign in, enjoy refreshments. Volunteers will then watch a planting demonstration from Relief Michigan's tree experts. The event occurs rain or shine, and no planting experience is necessary, and families are encouraged. Join us for the morning and leave an environmental legacy that will add to the beauty and health of your community for generations. Is really a good event, and I think it's going to be a fun day. It's planned right now from 8:45 to 1. But even if you could only stay and dig one hole, it would be greatly appreciated. So I hope that many of you can make it.
Do we get our auger yet?
The auger was supposed to be delivered the first 2 weeks. The motor was supposed to be here the first week, and the bit was supposed to be here the second week. It is on an 8-week backlog. But in dealings with Michigan Cat, they are going to provide me with a machine
Sweet.
With an auger on it to take care of our needs.
I was going to say.
Right.
So.
Thank you to Michigan Cat.
My
Holy
salesman
cow.
from Michigan Cat was blown away that I hadn't received it yet. He did not.
Well, he needs a Buchanan T-shirt or
Yeah.
something.
He said, man, I'll make it happen if I can, so he's done some calling. The only thing I have to do is haul it from their site to here, so.
Good to hear.
We'll
Good to
get
hear.
it taken care of.
Give
Thanks,
some
Mike.
free press if they want to bring some volunteers and dig some holes.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Okay,
gonna
so
hardly
I'm
have to-
Yeah,
sorry.
that's a
I'm
great
gonna
opportunity for
I'm gonna
business.
move on from the communications and go on to public comment on non-agenda items only, please. If you'd like to speak, please come forward, state your name and your address. We're happy to hear any public comments.
Norma Ferris, 304 North Oak. We have our contract with Dial-A-Ride. I have communication with them. We will be getting tickets, we will be getting new brochures, and the coordinator there called me to make an announcement when they will not be working. I'm happy.
It's written all over your face, Norma, and your smile makes it all worthwhile.
We enjoy your smile, Norma.
Thank you for
so
your
much.
comments. Anyone else wishing to make a public comment? Okay, seeing none, let's move on to Commissioner Whedon.
Oh, I wasn't quite prepared.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. No, it's okay. Gosh, what was I going to talk about? I completely lost it. Circle back on that one.
Moving on.
Oh.
Commissioner Swem.
We could just take some notes since Heather's not here. I was hoping to get an update on where we're at with the city attorney on her review process. I know we have a deadline on that, so I just want to be conscious of what we've agreed to for her. Just a couple notes I'd like them to discuss, not necessarily directly part of her review, but progress on the master plan, action plan, progress on the RRC action plan, 2023 infrastructure plan, 2022 DPW building, fire and police strategy for their buildings, and the Brownfield board. So if we could just make sure that communication gets out to Heather and the attorney, so when they come for, I think they're on schedule for our next meeting. Hopefully we have some updates on where we're standing with that.
And then you mentioned
Oh, yes, we need to add, Tyler Gaines was here to present a resolution on behalf of the landfill. If you guys recall, I asked Barbara to send this out quite a few months ago regarding the feasibility study from the landfill. Extremely important. I know it's not an easy read, but it is extremely, extremely important that we familiarize ourselves with that. There is a financial obligation to all of the owners of the landfill as part of that. So please add that to the agenda. Tyler's going to give a brief on it when he comes, but there's a resolution that we need to ratify as part of that agreement. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Downey? Commissioner Money?
I just wanted to once again say welcome to Nick, our new officer, and thank you to Chief Gaines for his due diligence on getting a new officer involved here. Good luck to Barb on her new endeavors, whatever they may be, and happy anniversary to Mike Baker.
It's my wife and I's 18-year anniversary.
Happy anniversary. I just briefly wanted to talk about, do you still want to make comments, or do you not want to make?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
It was, Barbara, best of luck. Thank you so much for your time. I know that you've put in a lot of hard work and many, many hours to get us as much information as you possibly can, and I really do appreciate what you've helped us get to this point, so thank you.
Thank you.
He said he didn't want to make a comment, right?
That was a comment.
Oh,
I
okay.
just-
I wanted to talk,
And go.
we try, I try to keep these meetings as laid back and as open for public discourse as I can. And I enjoy it. I like hearing from you. I don't like going to meetings where the public is stifled. But I would ask that we be respectful of one another and not speak over or yell over one another. Regarding Mr. Vigansky's eruption this evening, I have a text on my phone that I can show any and all of you that I did respond to him. He did request an item. He got a hold of City Hall to ask to have something put on the agenda, and the city manager and I both decided that it wasn't really relevant. He was wanting to talk about something that the commission had already voted on, and if we waste our time spinning our wheels on the same items over and over, we don't get anything accomplished. I think Barbara, it was either Barbara or the city manager did email him back to tell him that his request was denied. I texted Dan and told him why his request, the same reason I just told you. So, we're trying to be transparent, we're trying to be helpful, but we're also trying to be efficient and effective. And that requires listening to one another, not speaking over one another, and being respectful of one another. So with that, I do hope that as many of you that can show up, do show up to help plant trees. There's only one auger, and there's a lot of trees. So we have our work cut out for us. But with that, I thank you, Chief Gaines. Thank you, Barbara, for all your hard work. I know you've put in a lot of time, so it's appreciated. With that, I will take a motion to adjourn.
I would so move.
Thank you. Support?
I'll support.
Can we have a roll call, please?
Dennison.
Yes.
Downey. Money.
Yes.
Swam.
Yes.
Whedon.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
What's up, buddy?
Why didn't you?
Not that I'm aware of, because I
No, I mean, there isn't.
I thought Mike